Good morning, students. Myself, Shiv Kumar Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Pediatric Nursing in Mahatma Gandhi Nursing College. It is a constituent body of Mahatma Gandhi University of Medical Science and Technology. Today we will discuss about the blood. So, blood is a fluid connective tissue, or like all connective tissue. It consists of an intracellular substance and an extracellular matrix. The volume fraction of all blood cells in whole blood is about 45% of blood cells and 55% of cellular elements, in which plasma is made up of 55% and cellular content is made up of 45%. The extracellular matrix, which is also known as the plasma, is makes up about 55% of total blood volume, and the average pH of blood is about 7.4. However, in a healthy individual, the range from 7.35 to 7.45. Blood makes about 7% of an adult body's weight. It means we can say the adult male is having around 5.6 liter and woman is having around 4.5 liter of blood in their respective body. If it comes under the functions of blood, then first one is the transportation. Blood is the most important transport system in human body. It carries gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide and some amount of nitrogenous. As well as it contains the nutrients also, and some of them end products which are made from the cell metabolism. It delivers the tissue with blood gases and nutrients, and in exchange transport end products like carbon dioxide, urea, uric acid and creatinine. To the eliminating organs like carbon dioxide carries to the lungs, urea and uric acid is carries to the kidney for excretion along with the urine, and liver for the other metabolic waste products. It carries chemical messengers hormones from the endocrine glands to the target organs. The second function is the acid-base balance. Homeostasis of acid-base balance is regulated by the blood through the diffusion of gases between alveoli and blood in the lungs. It means by the process of the alveolar diffusion, this mechanism takes place in your body. Oxygen diffuses from the alveoli into the blood due to the concentration gradients. It is taken up by the carrying protein hemoglobin. The protein hemoglobin, it is a pigment which are derived from the destruction of RBC which takes place into the liver. Hemoglobin is a pigment which are consist from the heme, it means iron, and globin is a protein. In reserve, carbon dioxide diffuse from the blood into the alveoli due to higher blood concentration, where it is exhaled by the process of the expiration. The third one function is very important, which is the coagulation of blood. The coagulation of blood is also known as hemostasis. It is the process of coagulation factors, protein, which are involved in blood and stop bleeding after a complex mechanism which are happened when the bleeding occurs into the body. This process is this process is taken place by the blood cells which is known as the thrombocytes. The fourth function is the defense. Different type of leukocytes which protect the body from external threats such as microbes. The microbes could be either parasite, any bacteria, any viruses, any fungi that have entered the bloodstream via a wound. Other WBC seek out and destroy internal threats when damage to blood vessels resulting in bleeding. Platelets and certain protein involved in the plasma, the fluid portion of the blood, interact to block the ruptured area of blood vessels which are involved during the injury time. This protects the body from pathogens by developing antibodies in response to antigen, which is known as the immunity. Next one is the maintenance of homeostasis. Body temperature is controlled by a negative feedback mechanism. During exercise on a warm day, body temperature rises up and trigger several homeostatic mechanisms, including increased transport of blood from central to periphery of the body, which is typically cooler. And as blood passes through the vessels of the skin, heat would be dissolute to environment, and the blood returning to your body core would be cooler. In contrast, on a cold day, blood is diverted away from the skin to maintain a warmer body core. In extreme case, this may cause the frostbite. The composition of blood. It means what are the elements help to contribute to form the entire form of blood. First one is the plasma. Plasma is composed about 90% of water. Many dissolved substances are suspended in plasma. They are following: plasma proteins like albumin and globulin, inorganic substance, waste material such as ammonia, urea, uric acid, creatinine, etc. Endocrine hormones, gases like oxygen, nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and some are digested food. Plasma proteins makes about 7% of total volume of plasma. There are three major types of plasma proteins are as follows. First one is the albumin. It is the most abundant of plasma protein formed in the liver. Albumin molecules serve as a binding protein, transport vehicle for fatty acid, and it helps for transportation of steroidal hormone also. Recall, the lipids are hydrophobic in nature. Their binding to albumin enable their transport in the watery plasma. Albumin is also maintaining the osmotic pressure of the blood. That is, its presence holds water inside the blood vessels and draws water from the tissue across blood vessels wall and into the bloodstream also. This in turn help to maintain both blood volume and blood pressure. Very important point, you should keep remember. This in turn help to maintain both blood volume and the blood pressure. Albumin normally accounts for approximately 54% of the total plasma protein content. In clinical areas, it is up to the level of 3.5 to 5.0 gram per deciliter in the blood. Second, another important protein is the globulin. It is the most varied group. There are three main subgroups known as alpha, beta and gamma globulins. The alpha and beta globulin transport iron, lipid and the fat soluble vitamin A, D, E, K to the cells. Like albumin, they are contribute to maintain the osmotic pressure. The gamma globulin are protein involved in immunity and are better known as an antibody or immunoglobulins. Although other plasma proteins are produced by the liver, immunoglobulins are produced by the specialized leukocyte cells, which is known as the plasma cells. Globulin make up approximately 38% of total plasma protein volume. It means it is in the clinical area of up to 1.0 to 1.5 gram per deciliter. Another one protein is the fibrinogen. It is produced in the liver. It is needed for blood clotting. a process which explained later in our next chapter. We will discuss about the process of the blood clotting in deeply in our next classes. Till that, you must have to understand about the fibrinogen. So we are discussing that fibrinogen is a protein which are needed for the blood coagulation. It accounts for about 7% of total plasma protein volume. It means in the clinical level of 0.2 to 0.45 gram per deciliter. If we discuss about what are the nutrients present into the blood, in that carbohydrates are in the form of the monosaccharides, protein are present in the form of the amino acids, and lipids are present in the form of the fatty acid and glycerol, because they are absorbed by the small intestine through the villi and microvilli, and they enter into the bloodstream via portal vein. They enter into the liver. This is the portal circulation. Might be you have discussed or you have studied in digestive system or cardiovascular system about the portal circulation. The waste product which are present into the blood are nitrogenous waste product like urea, uric acid, ammonia, creatinine, which are carried to the kidney, and from the kidney by the process of the micturition along with the urine, they are excreted from your body. Hormones are the chemical messengers which are produced by the endocrine glands, are directly drained into the blood stream to reach the target organs where they affect the cellular biological activity. You know, the endocrine glands also known as ductless gland, because the hormones which are secreted by the endocrine glands are directly drained into the bloodstream. Through the blood circulation, they reach to the target organs and put their effects. What are the gases are present? Oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogenous substance are transported whole of the body dissolved in the plasma. Some electrolytes such as sodium, potassium, phosphorus, calcium ions, all these non-protein solutes makes around 1% of total volume of the plasma. Now we are discussing about the site of the hemopoiesis. You know what is hemopoiesis? Hemopoiesis means the process of formation of cellular elements. What are the cells like RBC, like WBC, like platelets, how they form in the body is the process known as hemopoiesis. Hemopoiesis or hematopoiesis, both words are derived from the Greek word hema, it means blood, and the poiesis means production. From birth, hemopoiesis occurs in a number of tissues beginning with the yolk sac of developing embryo and continuing in the fetal liver, spleen, lymphatic tissue, and eventually the red bone marrow. In children, hemopoiesis can occur in the medullary cavity of long bones. In adult, this process is largely carried by the cranial and pelvic bone and the vertebrae and the sternum and the proximal epiphysis of the femur and humerus. Throughout the adulthood, the liver and spleen maintain their ability to generate the blood cells. This process is referred to as extramedullary hemopoiesis, meaning hemopoiesis outside the medullary cavity is known as extramedullary hemopoiesis. Now the topic is differentiation of blood cells from the stem cells. All blood cells arises from stem cells of the red bone marrow. Recall that stem cells undergo mitosis and cytokinase process. Cellular division gives rise to new daughter cells. The totipotent stem cells is the zygote or fertilized egg. The totipotent is a word which denote that tutti means all and pluripotent means the next division of the totipotent. So totipotent are the cells. The best example of totipotent stem cells is sperm and the ovum, because due to the fertilization process, sperm and ovum makes zygote, and zygote have the capability to form the all parts of the body. So this is the capability, this is the caliber only totipotent stem cells have in body. So the next step is the pluripotent stem cells. What are the pluripotent stem cells? These cells give rise to several types of cells of the body and some of the supportive fetal membranes. Beneath this level, the mesenchymal cell is a stem cells that develop only into types of connective tissue, including fibrous connective tissue, bone, cartilages, and blood, but not epithelium, muscles, and nervous tissue. One step lower on the hierarchy of stem cell is the hemopoietic stem cells or hematocytoblast. Blast means new forming cells. The cells which have the capability to develop into a new cells, they are the blastic cells. All of the blood cells originate from this specific type of cells, which is the hemocytoblast. Hemopoiesis begins when the hemopoietic stem cell is exposed to certain chemical stimuli, collectively called hemopoietic growth factors, that prompt it to divide and differentiate. One daughter cell remain a hemopoietic stem cells, allowing hemopoiesis to continue. The other daughter cell become either of two types of more specialized stem cells. What are the two types of more specialized stem cells are? First one is the lymphoid stem cells. It generate a class of white blood cells known as lymphocytes, including various T cells, B cells, and natural killer NK cells involved in immunity. However, hematopoiesis of lymphocytes differ from that of other elements that are formed are briefly. Lymphoid stem cells rapidly migrate from bone marrow to lymphoid tissue such as lymph node, spleen, and thymus gland, where they continue to produce and differentiated. B cells mature in the bone marrow and T cells mature in the thymus gland. Second one type of cell is the myeloid stem cell. It gives rise to all the other blood cells together with red blood cells, which are arising from bone marrow stem cells known as megakaryocytes. The megakaryocytes that produce platelets. A myeloblastic lineage that produce monocyte and three forms of granulocytes like neutrophil, basophil, and eosinophil. What are the hematopoietic growth factor? First one is the erythropoietin. In this topic, we are discussing the factors which are either increase or decrease the activity of hemopoiesis. First one is the erythropoietin. It is a glycoprotein hormone secreted by the interstitial fibroblast cell of the kidney in low oxygen level. Its main function is to production of erythrocytes. Number second factor is the thrombopoietin. Same as the erythropoietin, thrombopoietin is also another type of glycoprotein hormone which is produced by the liver and the kidney. It activates the development of megakaryocytes into the platelets. Another one factor is the cytokines. Cytokines are glycoproteins secreted by a wide range of cells, including red bone marrow, leukocytes, macrophages, and fibroblast cells. If we discuss about one more factor which is known as the colony stimulating factor. The colony stimulating factor are glycoproteins that act locally as autocrine or paracrine factors. Few activates the differentiation of myeloblast into granular leukocytes. You know granular leukocytes? In previous we have discussed about there are three types of granulocytes: neutrophils, eosinophils, and the basophils. And last final factor is the interleukin, which is the another type of cytokines which is signaling the particles which are important for the hemopoiesis process. Rest of them topic we will discuss in our next classes. Till that, thank you.